Tape Deck Media.
See you at the party, Richter!
Welcome to See You at the Party, Richter. I'm Aaron Frescus, and with me, as always, are Joseph Beck Castro and Chris Chapman. And today we're going to be finishing up the summary for Arnold's 1976 Forgetsterpiece. That's like masterpiece and forgettable mixed together, I guess. It's not really masterpiece, though, so I got nothing. Seriously, there's got to be a name like for like those 70s movies. Gritty? It's not gritty, though.
Poorly aged. I'm not sure.
Anyway, Stay Hungry is the name of this film.
Yeah.
So we're going to finish up the summary. We're also going to do all the other fun stuff that we do afterwards before we throw the film to the Spreadator. But before we do any of that, we first 100% owe an apology to the great Gene Hackman.
Yes.
Who sadly passed away today.
Literally today.
Yeah. And if for some reason this is your first episode you listen to and you have no idea what we're talking about, well, we recorded the first part of the summary is at least about a month ago.
Well, the entire summary was recorded, a while ago. Yeah, in
like mid-January. I take forever to get everything done, and I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So I finally get everything edited, and we post the episode, and we have this like running, like it's not even sort of a running joke.
In my opinion, it was like sort of a good-natured ribbing.
It was a ribbon.
It was like we made some comments about Gene Hackman's appearance during the episode.
Yeah, but we weren't disparaging it.
Yes, we focused a little bit on his more tuber-like qualities. But, no disrespect was meant. And
no, none at all.
Certainly.
I love Gene
Hackman.
I
love Gene.
I
always enjoy him in movies.
Exactly. Like, what's your favorite Gene Hackman movie?
Get Shorty.
Really?
I like Superman. It's good. Have you seen Get Shorty recently?
I have.
Really funny.
I haven't seen the second one, but I've seen the first one.
Yeah, Be Cool is not as good.
Okay.
Who
was he in?
Get Shorty? He's the slimy movie producer.
I don't even
who gets his shit kicked in by the end of the movie. He's really funny.
Okay. I really like him in Heartbreakers.
It's been so long since I've seen Heartbreakers. Obviously, I love him as Lex Luthor.
It's probably the same character too.
Yeah,
he's just like
he's just like a total sleaze.
Yeah, like does it very well. And then Royal Tenenbaums is awesome too.
Mm-hmm. The Replacements.
The Replacement. Yes, so. I mean, the movie's
I'm
fine.
sure everybody else thinks Hoosiers, but I'm like, The Replacements. No, that's my Gene Hackman sports movie.
You got to set that up better. That one sports movie that he's really good in, The Replacements.
Ooh, Enemy of the Estate. That's another good one.
Okay, so basically the whole thing was...
well, we were talking about how the beauty standards of the 70s were
not even the beauty standards. It was the action hero changed.
Yeah,
sure. Like what the action hero looked like basically changed from the 70s to the 80s. Because in the 70s, you had Clint Eastwood and Charles Bronson.
Yeah, exactly.
But, when we did the Pumping Iron episode, that's never going to get released. We were talking about that, and we said that Gene Hackman looks like... Basically, he looks like a potato with a hat on.
Yes.
In The French Connection. But the whole thing that's funny to me is just a potato wearing a hat. I don't know why. That's what's funny to me. I don't know.
That is the basic conceit of Mr. Potato Head. It's not like you're the first person to get there.
It's true.
It's funny.
But it's like
funny
the
if the potato head.
The pissed off like French Connection.
Yeah, he's grouchy.
Yeah, exactly. Which I guess is just Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story. So they should have had Gene Hackman to play that. Although Don Rickles. But anyway, that was unintentional.
We love Gene Hackman. It was
bad timing.
Yeah, just by pure coincidence, it was really poor timing to release this episode. But again, no disrespect, man.
No, none at all.
We love Gene Hackman. Yeah. We just wanted to say, we're not being dickbags on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so anyway. We just wanted to say that. Sorry.
Genuinely sorry.
Very stupid jokes.
Yes.
Speaking of stupid jokes, how about we get this episode going and finish off the rest of this gosh darn summary, huh?
Sounds good.
Cool. We also sometimes play a clip of a line from the movie to segue into the episode, but since I can't think of a single memorable line off the top of my head, how about we just do one from Gene Hackman's scene in Young Frankenstein instead, huh?
Yeah.
Wait! Where are you going? I was going to make espresso.
Okay, so back at the gym, Mary Tate shows up to collect her things as Thor wakes up from his bender. He goes into his office and does some cocaine, I think?
No.
No? Okay, what is that?
Okay. So according to Bob Rafelson in an interview with sensesofcinema.com, the actor who plays Thor, whose name is R.G. Armstrong, was actually doing, they're called poppers. There's an actual name for it.
Is that what a popper is?
They're called poppers, but that's what he's sniffing. So it's actually called amyl nitrite.
Uh-huh.
So you guys haven't heard of that before because I've never heard of it.
I have heard of poppers, and all the context that I've ever gotten about it is that they are popular among the homosexual community.
Okay.
That's the only thing I've ever heard about it.
Happening at a gym in the 70s, so.
Allegedly. Throw that in there because anyway. This was Wikipedia and it says, quote, it was used recreationally as an inhalant drug that induces a brief euphoric state, and when combined with other intoxicant stimulant drugs such as cocaine or MDMA, which is Molly, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Ecstasy. Is it different than ecstasy?
They're all kind of in the same.
Okay. The euphoric state intensifies and is prolonged. Once some stimulative drugs wear off, a common side effect is a period of depression and anxiety, colloquially called a come down.
Colloquially?
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, amyl nitrite is sometimes used to combat these negative after effects.
Huh.
I did not read this far.
I have no idea.
This effect, combined with its dissociative effects, has led to it being used as a recreational drug.
Huh.
I thought it was smelling salts. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I thought it was too. And then I read that interview where so Bob Rafelson in an interview said that he was doing these things. He actually was doing those poppers.
Damn.
Yes, he was sniffing it,
Jesus.
and which I'm sure was like super fun for Sally Field to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great job on maintaining that safe set there, Bob Rafelson.
Yeah. Jesus.
Anyway.
Fucking Christ.
But yeah, so it's like, which again, like it's euphoria. I know, I'm sure he was drinking at the same time, but it seems like it's like something to calm you down though. Because Joe, like, how does? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw to you like you're the drug expert, but I think you were just about to say something. Like, so MDMA makes you feel like the next day, like.
Yeah. Well, basically, what it does is it takes like all your serotonin, which is like your happy
hormone.
Thank you, and just like dumps it. So you're like, yeah, I feel great. Like everything is awesome. Mm-hmm. And then, usually it'll take a little bit to, get back going. That's why you should only do it like once every 6 months at the most. And there's also a thing called Suicide Tuesday, which is usually like Tuesdays, like the day you feel really bad. No, I don't think a lot of people kill themselves, but like...
Yeah, but like you take it over the weekend, and so then by the time Tuesday rolls around... Yeah, you feel like horrible.
You're like, fuck it, I need some serotonin. So there's actually, it's like omega-5 or some shit, some like over-the-counter stuff that you can take that's supposed to boost your serotonin, allegedly, but it's or not over-the-counter, but like herbal, whatever, all that bullshit. So yeah, that's basically what happens.
So
MDMA, like when you want to do it in the dance stuff, like it can be an upper because one of the M's is like basically meth. But you can get it. I always forget the difference between MDMA, Molly, ecstasy, and SAS. One of them, or some of them don't have like the meth part. So if you're taking like the stuff and you take it and you go to a club and you dance all night because you're all hyped up and serotonin's going. Some of the other ones you're just like, wow, I want to hang out and cuddle and laugh and talk stuff, allegedly.
By the way, the actual reason the actual use for this is for people with heart problems. So yes, that's the there's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 uses that are listed on Wikipedia. That's number 4. That's the last one. Because the first one is what?
Does it like fuck with your blood pressure? Like, what do you mean heart problems?
So yes, it says amylin nitrate was historically employed medically to treat heart diseases as well as angina. Which just makes me laugh every time. Like, my angina! I mean, I know it's a very serious thing, and I'm sorry, but the word angina, I'm like, were you really going to name it angina? It sounds like vagina. My angina! And then they reach for their heart. I'm like, why are they reaching for their heart? I want to, every now and then I think of like sitcom jokes that are really bad. Where I'm like, it's always for stupid characters too, where it's like someone's like, oh, my angina, and then he grabs like his like dick, like he's like, oh, they're like, that's not what angina is, or like a girl, it would have to be a girl, like that's not what angina is. Like, oh, my angina is acting up, and then she like grabs her, like I don't know, like it's a heart thing. Anyway, it's also was used as an antidote for cyanide poisoning, apparently.
Wow.
But yeah, and then it says that poppers, which is weird because I feel like it wouldn't have the effect that it does in this movie because he gets fucking crazy. And it like, I guess if it's like something that brings you back, actually that makes sense. If it's something that brings you back up from when you're feeling like shit, but I don't know.
I don't know. It's hard to say. He takes this stuff and then this is how I imagine a fucking like this is what I imagine PCP does to you.
Yeah,
he gets all weird and aggressive and like I don't know. Yeah.
Joe, no PCP yet? No. Okay, I was waiting for like
he's like next
Joe
year,
to like
God
chime in
willing.
with like actually PCP does not do that to you.
Well, see, the thing is with PCP, no, I don't know. It's one of those drugs I would never touch. I mean, just like all drugs.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I'll stick with my beer.
Speaking of drugs, are there any situations where you'd be like, well, PCPs or heroin is like, like, okay, like, is it like a dying thing to where you're like a Little Miss Sunshine sort of like thing to where it's like you're Alan Arkin?
Yeah, see, heroin seems like one of those things.
Like if the world was ending or I'm dying or something, you know. I mean, because I'm not gonna lie, they seem like fucking fun. They just ruin your life. Like,
exactly.
I don't know. I want to fucking snort a bunch of meth and stay up for 3 days and fucking draw shit. I don't know. That sounds cool, but then I have like the rest of my fucking life. And what if it's like super awesome? So
yes,
like
that's why I try not to do like besides like the pills that I do take, I don't touch anything chemical just because I have a very addictive personality. So it's like nothing chemical whatsoever because I don't want to have to be like end up turning into like a Requiem for a Dream situation.
yeah, no, thank you.
And we all know the situation he's talking about.
Ass to ass.
Ass to ass.
I mean, yeah, it's not like I'm doing that now or anything, but that was like, no, I want to stop the ass to ass now. That's why. It'll stop me from the heroin's what gets me. You get too high to do ass to ass, and you're like, oh no, I ain't doing that anymore. Like,
I gotta go all the way to the warehouse downtown.
Also, in that movie, like, why is he shooting up into the same spot every single time? That's what I don't get. Like, I think I mentioned this the first time. I have weird, like, remember weird stuff. But like the first time I watched, I was at Joe's fucking parents' house.
We watched that at my parents' house?
Yes, I remember watching that at your parents' house. And like, why is he shooting it in the same fucking spot? I'm pretty sure that was one of our friends was like the one that showed it to us. Oh, who actually did? Was that him?
I don't know. I just remember seeing it once, and I'm like, never.
That was at your parents' house.
Yeah,
yeah. I was like, why is he shooting it into the same spot every single time?
Yeah, that was kind of a dumbass move on his part.
Yeah, you got how many different toes? Come on, get it in between those toes. Maybe that's what they did before the internet.
I don't know. Maybe.
Anyway.
No, because there was some movie with Joshua Jackson where he was shooting up in between his toes. Was it Cruel Intentions? I don't know.
Joshua Jackson wasn't in Cruel Intentions, was he?
Yeah,
Okay.
He was.
He was?
Yeah. He's
shit,
he
who
plays
is
the
he?
gay character in Cruel Intentions.
Oh.
But that drug is that drug. Anyway, moving on.
Got it.
Sorry.
Okay, so he does some poppers before heading downstairs and sexually assaulting Mary Tate. Back at the competition, Bridges is whining at Arnold about how bad he feels until Arnold can't take it anymore and tells him off before going on stage.
Okay, so wait, what turned him?
What turned who?
Jeff Bridges.
What turned him?
Yeah, like why is he
a
like
couple
'cause
days? I think.
Okay,
Like, that's it.
20 minutes before in the movie, he's a dick to her because she confronts him. She was like, "You didn't want anything to do with me at the party," and he's like lying to her. He's like, "I was I was trying to introduce you to people or doing whatever." Like he fucking lied to her.
I mean, first he tries to gaslight. First he's like, that was your first party. You'll get used to those. Like,
yeah, but then he tells her, "It's like I
fucking-
wasn't doing that. I was proud of you." Or
he
whatever
gives the
fuck he
lamest
said.
fucking excuse. He was like, I was just trying to show him who you are. You're so real, baby. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you
Like shit like that.
piece of shit.
But then he goes and apologizes to what's his name? Like I was just curious what turned him like his Billy Madison.
He doesn't even
moment.
really apologize to Arnold. Like
He does.
he's about to when they get interrupted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I wonder if he was thankful for this. Like, oh, thank God. Whew.
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
to apologize.
So Arnold goes on stage after kind of telling him off. Franklin tells Bridges that Mary Tate was planning to go to the gym, so Bridges heads there, and one of the secret language brothers follows him to make sure Thor isn't fleeing with all the money. Bridges shows up to the gym and finds a very shaken Mary Tate. Realizing what happened, he sends Mary to find Arnold as Thor starts throwing all sorts of weight and gym equipment at him. They have... sorry, go ahead.
I thought he just sent her out of the gym.
No. He says, go find Joe. Go find Joe.
Oh, because the whole reason that Joe ran there was because he heard there was a
that other
fucker, right?
the script is bad. Yes,
Okay,
but
okay, gotcha. Okay.
but no, he as Thor starts throwing the weights, he tells her to leave and he says, "Go find Joe. Go find Joe." So they have a pretty I don't know. In my opinion, they have a pretty exciting and realistic fight throughout the gym.
Yes.
That is pretty much like the highlight of this movie for me.
Yeah. The first time I watched this, it was very tense.
Yeah. It's like a well choreographed and well thought out fight.
Yes, which that same Sense of Cinema.com interview praises Bob Rafelson about that, and he actually says that they mostly use real weights during that scene.
Jesus Christ.
Using an example with it dropping on the stairs in front of Jeff Bridges and the stairs breaking, which I'm like,
holy shit.
Are you trying to kill him? I don't know. It's just a very,
I mean, he was on poppers, man. What do you want from him?
Which it's like, if that's true, it's just like, dude, set safety.
Yeah, what the fuck? Although that move that Jeff Bridges pulls when he throws the weight down the stairs at him, not the Olympic weight, but like the barbell at him, and he like jumps up into the hallway.
Yeah.
Like a fucking spider monkey. That was pretty sweet.
But like the fucking the weight that he drops right before he's walking up the stairs,
the
was like
big
fuck.
like 50-pound Olympic weight that he throws down at him. Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, the brother comes to the gym and sees them fighting, and then runs back to the competition. Back at the competition, we see a pose-off between Arnold and, what's his name? I just have some blonde dude.
Ken Waller.
Ken Waller.
Yeah.
So
that's not his name in the movie, but that's his real name.
Yeah. We see a pose-off between Arnold and Ken Waller, which Arnold wins pretty decisively according to the crowd.
Yeah, and he, sorry, this is just an Arnold body comment, but the definition is just so much better with Arnold Schwarzenegger than it is with... Of course,
yeah.
Ken Waller, which I'm assuming is just why he won everything.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
You really see it the moment before they call him on stage when he's doing the barbell thing, and when he's doing the barbells, I was just like, oh, he looks different from every other bodybuilder in this movie.
Yeah.
Let's see. So as Arnold comes off the stage, the weirdo with the secret language comes back and tells his brother about the fight at the gym. So Arnold and all the bodybuilders go running through the streets to get to the gym. And so suddenly this movie decides that it wants to be a madcap comedy, not even 10 minutes after showing us a terrifying and very uncomfortable assault, which it still hasn't resolved, by the way. So anyway, the bodybuilders are all trying to figure out where Arnold went, but are being mobbed by people on the street who want to see them do poses. So they say, fuck it, and start posing in the middle of the street, literally stopping traffic. As we get almost like Benny Hill music in the background.
American Benny Hill music.
Yeah. Exactly.
Southern Benny Hill music.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's even a bunch of them posing on top of a bus that's going by.
Yeah.
Yeah, they start climbing on cars, and there's... Yeah.
So, did they think that Joe Santos stole the money? I
think they were following Joe because...
Well, they were chasing him, though. Okay.
You know what I mean? Those guys don't know where the gym is. The registration wasn't at the gym. Nothing was at the gym so far.
All right.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So back at the gym, the fight is over. Arnold is trying to comfort Mary Tate as Bridges and Thor are taken to the hospital. We cut to some time later as the League of Evil Realtors catch us up on what happened after the fight. Thor agreed to sell the gym to Bridges in exchange for Mary Tate dropping the rape charges, which I only really paid attention to on the second watch, and wow, that's fucked up. Like, that's
Yes.
fucking monstrous.
Yes.
And now that Bridges owns the gym, he decided not to sell it to the realtors, but to run the gym with Arnold. We get a little more narration, first from the Civil War uncle, who is now proud of his nephew. Then we get Bridges' narration, in which he tells his uncle that he sold the mansion and gave the butler all the best stuff to start his own thrift shop. Bridges and Mary Tate are back together, and I guess that passes for an ending.
So wait, when does he make his way to the Shining Hotel?
Shortly after. He opens a thrift shop. It doesn't do well, so he has to move to Colorado, or wherever the fuck the Overlook is.
Yeah, become a chef.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't take years of training. Well, I get shit.
He's a butler.
He's
Yeah,
been,
what are you talking about?
Yeah. All right,
51
my bad.
years.
So
been
wait,
with
he's
this
already
family.
had the
52
Shining.
years.
Why didn't he fuck with it? Maybe he didn't want to use it.
No, well, it's not like a Jedi mind trick. Like, you can't convince people to do stuff. You just kind of understand stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So is that why he knew that? I mean, it was pretty obvious why Jeff Bridges was a crap bag, but
yeah. He's like, I see into your mind. You're a piece of shit.
Well, no, that's how he knew what Jeff Bridges' grandma would think of what Jeff Bridges was doing.
Okay.
He was communing with the dead.
Okay. Wait, can they do that?
They can talk to ghosts. That's part of The Shining.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of like the entire
Yeah.
kind of point. And in Dr. Sleep, Danny talks to
Oh, yeah.
Dick
He does,
Halloran.
to the Scatman.
Yeah.
He calls him the scat.
That would be great. He's like, would you stop calling me that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're at the end of the movie, and now we get to the only fucking reason that I bothered to finish this movie, which is Joe Namath.
Now we're going to do something extremely fun. We're going to play a wonderful game called Who is My Daddy and What Does He Do? Yes?
Well, be ready, because I have a long list. All right, first off, I got somebody named Maith Nutter. M-A-Y-F Nutter. And that has been this episode's version of Joe Namath. That was pretty much it.
You know what?
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah. I do find it, though, that this movie does have like a lot of stars that are and people that are still relevant or well known. I mean, you have Arnold, Jeff Bridges, Scatman Crothers, Ed Begley Jr., Robert Englund, Sally Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like, if you look at most movies in the 70s, like, you're lucky. And you guys know like 18 other random white actors in this movie too. So
Yeah. It helps that the director was super like that's a director you wanted to work with back, like Bob Rafelson was someone you wanted to work with. Yeah. So like everyone wanted to be in the movie. So that
was like
definitely makes sense.
Yeah, like tying an onion to your belt. It was a style.
Wait.
He was in style. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, real quick before we get to all the other stuff, I have a couple of things I left out of the production episode because I wanted to save them for when we finished the summary.
Got it.
So yeah, this all comes from one of the interviews we discussed during the production episode, specifically the 1976 interview director Bob Rafelson did for the British Film Institute. And we're going to start with a quote from Rafelson, with him discussing Charles Gaines adapting his own novel and the reason behind some of the changes to the source material. And he says, quote, "Felt rather than being redundant and trying to capture the energies he had put into the novel, Gaines might be able to bring new life into a new creative experience based on the same basic body of material. If you can break the logic of the original piece of thinking and open it some, the quality of writing becomes more energized. Otherwise, you're merely trying to figure it out. How can I translate the novel experience into a film experience? At any rate, I did not relent in my feelings about wanting to make a more optimistic film and express that aspect of myself."
So I'm sorry. So he's saying he wanted a more positive, like he wanted the movie to have
Yes,
more
apparently which we didn't, apparently the book ended on a fucking downer. I think someone died at the end.
Yeah, but I thought that's what he liked about the book. That's what we talked about, is that he liked the
That's
ending.
what's weird is because he says that, but then like the whole reason that he did that, like this movie, is because he wanted something more positive. So I don't know. He's like, I like the fact that you think like me, but I'm changing the end of your book.
Okay.
That's all I got from that. I don't know. Okay. He also mentions why the gym owner ends up fighting with Jeff Bridges instead of the developers. Yeah. So he says, quote, "I suppose that in more conventional narrative structures, the enemy in the film would have been the cartel members.
and the fight would have taken place openly between them and the hero, Craig Blake. Instead, they simply subvert the gym owner, and the big confrontation comes between those two. I don't do this kind of thing intentionally. It's more that I find the intentions of simple, straightforward narrative so compellingly and embarrassingly predictable in most instances that I tend to search out other possibilities. I don't mind looking at movies that are made this way, but I find it very difficult myself to make movies where I know right from the beginning what the end is going to be, unquote. And again, it's just, this is why all this stuff right here is why, like, just such a pretentious and, like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, he's an asshole. Again. And again, going back to the part earlier we were talking about where he was in the production episode, where he was talking, they were kind of shitting on Jaws.
Yes.
It is really fucking stupid to me because it's like, yeah, I bet you in Jaws, the end of the movie is going to be they fight the shark. Exactly. But like, that doesn't make it fucking less compelling.
That was exactly
that
my
doesn't
thought
make
when
it
I read
fucking
this.
less exciting or whatever. I was like, that's
by the
so
way,
fucking stupid.
Joe, during the filming of this, they all went out and watched Jaws because it was in the theater. Mm-hmm. And Bob Rafelson told it was him
and Robert Englund.
I don't even know if he was there.
Yeah, but wasn't Robert Englund one of the people who
Yeah, he told the story, so I don't know.
Okay.
So it was the three main people and Bob Rafelson for sure, and maybe Robert Englund too. But Bob Rafelson told him this movie right here is going to be the end. Like, this is going to end our type of movies. He was right.
Yeah, he was right.
Yeah, because that was like the big blockbuster, like summer blockbuster, and then you get like, which I've read in a few places where you get like they don't blame it. They're kind of, but not like it's what are they? They're like saying that
they kind of blame like, and again, we went over this part when we talked about it in the production episode. They're not like entirely wrong. He made the first blockbuster, and that changed cinema,
like summer blockbuster.
The way the movie business works.
Yeah. So it's just like them talk like this is when that great era ended. I'm like,
also, if this is your example of your great era, fuck you. This fucking sucks.
I have a lot of thoughts about this, and I was saving it for Iron's Pumped.
Yeah,
so,
that's fine.
Like, you know me, I'm a constant contrarian, so I'll play both sides. And I'm going to do that in the
okay, cool.
In the Iron's Pumped. So.
Well, let me here. Okay, so there's a reason for why the movie might seem kind of disjointed, I guess. I think that's the word that he uses. Okay, so anyway, so he also mentions in that same this comes from the British Film Institute article that they did that like profile on him, but this also comes from the same article. He said that he shoots his films in order and usually doesn't know how the movie's going to end until the day before shooting the scene because, quote, in the movies I have made so far, the greatest reward has been that they have yielded to me privileges of experimentation and exploration. I don't like to know what my movies are about. I don't like to know how they're going to end. It's a constant puzzlement and a challenge. Okay, before you say anything, Rafelson also, unquote, but Rafelson also admits that this can be, quote, quite exasperating for my collaborators.
And the fucking audience.
Yeah, no shit.
Particularly in the production department, who are constantly receiving new pages at the last moment, sometimes to be shot in locales thousands of miles away from where they are, unquote.
Jesus.
Which, first of all, like, I've seen articles with longtime actors that are talking to people that like to improvise. You do it at least once the way that they want you to do it because it's disrespectful to the screenwriter.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that you're just like, fuck it, I can make it better. So at least do it their way once. And this shit would be frustrating as fuck.
I was listening to the Conan podcast where Woody Harrelson and Ted Danson were on, which probably came out a long time ago. But Woody was talking about him and Javier Bardem, and they were talking about that scene in No Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men, you know?
Like, when Javier Bardem was in Cheers?
Yeah.
That really tense scene in Cheers between Woody Harrelson and Javier Bardem. A toddler Javier Bardem.
The whole quarter scene happened in Cheers. Between him and Woody.
But he was bouncing the quarter into the shot glass because but yeah, I guess
I don't know, Mr. Bardem.
I don't know. You're 6 years old.
Sorry.
But yeah, they were talking about that, and like Javier and Woody, because I'll call them on their first names because we're homies now, basically. We're all in the biz. They were like like rework that scene. They like worked on it, like did conversations for like 2 days or whatever, and then they go to like give it to the Coen brothers. Like, oh, we're gonna do it like that, and they're like,
They told him no.
nah, yeah, do it how it's written. And Woody's like, yeah, no, they were right, 100%. They were right. Like you know, you got to give credit to the guys whose job it is to fucking like rate and direct the shit.
They wrote that too.
What?
The
Coen Brothers
screenplay.
wrote it.
Okay, wait.
Not the book. It's a Cormac McCarthy book.
Who was Woody Harrelson in that?
He wasn't in it for very long, but he was in Mexico. And spoilers, if you haven't seen that movie, what the fuck are you doing with your life? But spoilers.
I saw it recently. I was like, holy shit, this movie's good.
Yeah. He was in it for a little bit in Mexico, and he tries to like talk down Javier Bardem, and like he's like
he's like
no,
another.
and then he shoots him.
Yeah, he's like another hitman hired by what's his name, Stephen Root, to go find Javier Bardem and like stop him from.
But he's the first one to be like, you don't have to do this, man. You know, and he tries to. He's like, let the coin decide or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have like a history, so they like know each other.
So they workshop this whole thing. The Coen Brothers like, no.
Basically, the story he tells on Conan is just that, like Joe said, they spent like 2 days, like offset, like reworking the script and be like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. Let's improvise this and that. And then they took it to the Coen Brothers and they read through it, and then they were just like, I think we'll do it as written. Like not even thinking about it.
And yeah, even Wood Harrison's like, yeah, you know, they were right. Yeah, no, like we didn't. Yeah. I don't know what we were thinking.
Yeah, they were the fucking Coen brothers, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, to give Bob Rafelson some credit, in this instance, sorry to bring it back, but in this instance...
Yeah, sorry to bring it back to the topic.
The movie we're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, Charles Gaines was like, do whatever. Like, whatever.
Sure,
like, he just was, yes, as long as I get to work with you, man. Like, it's an honor.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want to my script. So, whatever, I guess. But then, anyway, so he goes on to say in that same article that he kind of like fills out the characters.
Sure.
Saying that his approach means that the audience, which Chris was just saying, audiences find his movies hard to follow or disorienting or whatever, saying, quote, I shoot in continuity and I pay very close attention to what the characters in the movie are telling me rather than being myself this dictatorial force telling the characters how they should respond. I place a great deal of faith in the collaboration of the entire company and in the atmosphere in which I'm shooting. I try to remain susceptible to what the characters are telling me, what the weather is telling me, what the sounds are telling me. While I do an enormous amounts of preparation, I go through a strange emptying process before I go to the stage and try to evaporate all the preconceived notion. God, this is just a bunch of fucking asshole shit that I try to stay vulnerable. This also accounts, I think, okay, sorry. This is what I was trying to get to. He's talking about the audience. This also accounts, I think, for a certain amount of confusion on the part of the audiences that see my movies. They find them disorienting, problematic, and difficult to follow, illogical, if you will. My films seem totally logical to me, but I'm pursuing a psychological... God, okay. Anyway, yeah, so he knows that it fucks with how people are watching stuff.
He knows it makes for a worse movie. Yeah. He just doesn't care.
He says, quote, Stay Hungry, again, does begin on an incredibly solemn note. A boy riding through a forest and sitting alone, a letter voiceover introducing us to the problems of his life, the despair of his life. And immediately, snap, we're dealing with the wild flourishes of middle-class Birmingham businessmen talking on CB units. The film constantly, almost maniacally, shifts from one mood to the next. It does take on totally unexpected confrontations. There's a sudden explosion of comic energy when the bodybuilders go racing through the streets of Birmingham. But these things are, I hope, anticipated. No, they're not at all.
No.
How? How would they have been?
So that they don't just happen arbitrarily or as radically stylistic departures.
And I thought you didn't want us to anticipate what's going to happen at the end of the movie. Fuck you. Fuck you and everything you do.
I mean, look, to be fair, God, we want to say we're familiar with 70s cinema, but we're only familiar with like 10 movies in the entire fucking decade. Like Star Wars.
Yeah, but there's a reason those movies have like lasted.
I know. Well, there's a reason they've lasted and some didn't, but like it's kind of it's like tying an onion to your belt. Like it was a style at the time. This is like how things were done. Like people don't realize like you were able to get. It's like 80s rap. Like Like, it was a new groundbreaking thing.
See, that's something that I get. Yeah. Okay.
But then you, like, listen to, like, 80s rap, like, pre-NWA or whatever, and just, like,
You're like, eh.
you know, there's a couple ones you can, like, get into, but you're not like, wow, this is fucking mind-breaking. Or, like, late 50s, early 60s rock. Like rock and roll, like when the white people got a hold of it. It's like the same sort of thing. Like, yeah, there's a couple bops in there or whatever, but like it's not, you know, it wasn't until like the late 60s where people were like, oh fuck man, like rock people can like make it art or whatever. So I feel like that's kind of like that. I'm not trying to justify like this movie or anything, but you know, it's a fucking different time in art and cinema, and by cinema meaning art. But it's just different. People didn't make like good ass crazy shit till later.
But they did though.
You know?
They did. Because
A couple people did.
Okay, like what like what fucking movies
Jaws,
like
we just said.
Okay. No one, I mean, Jaws is
Scorsese made. I'd have to look.
Okay, I was fucking
sorry,
getting there.
sorry,
like,
sorry.
you have your Scorseses and you have like your fucking Francis Ford Coppola
You have
and your
the like monster directors, like the really good directors, but then
yeah, like you got guys like that are like cutting edge, but you need people who are just like have fucking B plus movies, like any early thing, like any early genre or whatever. It's just the fucking bar has been raised so much since then.
Yes,
that
he's the Michael Bay of the 70s, basically. Like, but you know, not like it's for a style to where like, why was this popular? Like when people are watching it 30 years later, like, look at it.
I don't get it. Yeah.
This
Not even Michael Bay. He's like the fucking Peter Berg or what? Like
Peter Berg. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, and I don't know. He's
The Yule Bowl.
yeah. There you go.
Or the only one I can think of
Bowl.
is one that they made that movie about Mark. The long hair.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
That's probably a little worse. That's kind of probably an insult. But anyway.
Well, okay, so think about it like TV. Like TV shows that came in the 90s, you know, that were like fucking great or whatever. 90-something% of them don't have a fucking candle to what we have for like TV today. Like, yeah, you had Seinfeld and you had The Simpsons, and in the late 90s you had like The Sopranos or whatever. But like all the other shows like fucking Dharma and Greg, or like
Drew Carey show?
The Drew Carey show, like that was about Cleveland. No one gives a fuck about Cleveland. I wouldn't say Reba, but you like that show, and you kind of made me like that show. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, Home Improvement. There, we'll go with that one. Everyone hates that fucking show. Like that was like the standard. That was like That was like a fucking solid B show. That show came out now. That's like a F+ at best.
I think that show just came out like with whatever he's just made.
Kat Dennings.
Yeah. The last two Tim Allen shows that have been made. Yes, that's correct.
So
I'm just saying the standard was, the bar was a lot lower. So anybody with art and everything says they stand on, like, I'm not reaching the top. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
I'm not saying fucking Raffleson in this movie is like a giant. People in cinema can stand on top of him. But like, you know, like you can't reach the top unless you stand on some fucking shoulders. And so,
you know what? I can see that for sure. Like, with whatever, like the time, but like, I think my problem with his movies is how people look at it still, like now. Granted, it's still not enough to where he's actually remembered, but like the articles that I do read, they're like, these movies were like groundbreaking. I'm like, they're fine. I don't know, but also I haven't gone to film school and all that stuff. Maybe when I did, I'm like, man, he's got a good point. Like, this represents the whatever of.
I mean, it's the same idea with Citizen Kane. Like, if you go and watch that movie now, you'd be like, it's fine. It's boring as fuck, but it's fine.
I've never seen. I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, like it's fine, but I can easily understand the argument for the greatest movie of all time, because like it just completely changed the fucking way the game was played, you know?
This didn't do that though. Like,
I'm not saying it did that, but like it could be in that kind of level. Like, it's
But art is iterative. So everything is building on top of everything else. Even if it is not the most famous movie from the 70s.
Yeah.
Everything that came after it is built on top of it. That for sure. I guess the only reason I'm upset is because this dude talks like he's a genius.
Yes, that I think,
and he's
how full of
not.
himself
He's
he is.
not Coppola. He's not Scorsese. He's not one of those dudes. If somebody just came up to me and said, "I like Stay Hungry," I don't got a problem with that. Like whatever you like, man. But the fact that we're listening to him specifically talk shit about other people's movies or directing styles or whatever, and talk so much about how like wax poetic about the way he's doing things when the way he's doing things are fucking objectively wrong. Nobody shoots a movie in sequence.
That's true.
I mean,
Nobody does that because it's the least efficient, dumbest way to shoot a movie.
True.
That's like,
and
you
it,
don't do
you
that.
hear about it when it does happen because they're like, whoa, we shot in like I think The Revenant was shot in sequence.
Or like those movies that try to be one take. They probably shoot those in sequence.
Yes.
They might not.
Which I
even
think is the
shoot
same
those in
director.
sequence.
This is
Oh, was it really?
I think so because he also did Birdman. I think.
Oh yeah. You're right.
So yes, probably. But it's.
I mean,
I don't know.
I get it. Like, I'm not going to be out here like our podcast, genius. The rest of y'all's podcast, and sometimes I feel like that. And I'm like, every motherfucker's got a podcast. Look at these fucking losers. I'm like, oh wait, I got a fucking podcast too.
yeah.
So,
Oh wait.
But honestly, like, we are visionaries. We are the Bob Raffleson of our time when it comes to podcasts.
Oh
So,
God. Oh
Yeah.
You could be the Bob Raffleson of your time,
Yeah,
but
exactly. I feel like you should listen to the rest of the episodes before you do that because
I mean, hey, we record them all in order, right?
yes.
Like we
exactly.
start at the beginning and we keep talking to the end. So
Okay, so this last quote that I have, he says, quote, "There's a character who invents his own language, who takes us to the edge of farce and becomes communicator of a bedlam that's going on between the gym and the auditorium.
Mm-hmm.
There is a kind of challenge to see what would happen if the Martians landed, so to speak." So this is not unlike, I suspect, the way people's lives are lived all the time. We are despairing and ecstatic in various degrees from moment to moment and day to day. Anyway, I tried to put that kind of energy into the movie, but this all makes my work somewhat abrasive to a movie audience. And it's one of the consequences that I have to suffer if I'm going to continue to work in this form, which I don't necessarily anticipate doing for the rest of my life. That shit right there is where I'm like, fuck this guy. He's like, if I have to suffer for my art, then that's the way it's got to be. Like, he's just like the epitome of like douchebag,
the artsy elite.
Exactly. It's like this guy is the fucking epitome of it.
Yep.
Anyway, it's just whatever. But there's something with the review that made a good point about the movie. But the New York Times review of this says it, quote, was written by, because the New York Times addresses everyone by Mr. Raffleson and Charles Gaines, who also wrote the original novel and who, according to program notes, was ready to make any changes in the novel that Mr. Raffleson wanted. And it says, quote, "Frankly, Mr. Gaines is reported to have said, 'I just want to write a screenplay.' Mr. Raffleson is quoted as saying, quote, 'It was more than just adapting a novel to screen. It meant restructuring the script, bringing new characters to life.' Mr. Gaines' creative juices flowed as though it was a new project and this whole experience was exhilarating. This, I fear, is just what's wrong with Stay Hungry. Mr. Gaines was ready to jettison a lot of his novel, on which I assume he worked long and hard, in order to make a movie, any movie. While Mr. Raffleson ran around keeping those old creative juices flowing instead of turning off the taps once in a while." I was like, when I was reading this, like, this guy's fucking on fire. "The experience may have been exhilarating for the two of them, but for us, it's all clutter. It just it is the sort of movie whose vapidity is exposed as soon as the clutter is removed." So that's the end of that. Like the last thing I had. But
all right.
So how about we move on to our favorite lines?
Now we're cooking, huh?
He has powers as we do.
Certainly, but, oh, magnificent one. He is just one. Or you are three. Or four if you count him twice.
I've got a line.
Okay. Let's start with Chris then.
Okay. I just really like when Robert Englund is giving him the tour and he's talking about the hot tub and he goes, "It's got herbs in it."
herbs, yeah.
Herbs, sorry. It's got herbs in it.
He was talking about he was talking about hot dogs? I didn't
The
even
hot
catch that.
tub.
Oh, I was like, wait, you're talking about hot dogs?
They got herbs in them. Yeah. I don't know. There's not a lot of good lines in this, but I like that one.
No, I literally have nothing. I was watching it and like waiting for something to make me laugh or something. Like literally anything. I mean, I guess like the "Stay Hungry" line is the only line that I'll probably still remember, and maybe
That is
not
a good line.
Yeah, maybe not just because it's the name of the movie, but maybe that's what made me notice it more. But that's all I got.
It's probably like the only well-written.
That is a very good line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe's probably got a better answer. The only one that made me laugh was the "Why don't you put some more weight on that bar, pussy?" Like, that one made me laugh, but it was just more like because it fell dead flat, and then just Jeff Bridges smirk like right afterwards. Like I don't know, it just made it seem like it was improvised. But anyway, all right, moving on.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad.
We were supposed to actually start with the kill count, which was 0, I would assume.
Yeah, let's see. Did they kill anyone?
Oh no, 2. That's
2?
my guess. Yeah, his parents.
That's off screen, motherfucker.
I'm guessing
happens
3
before this movie starts.
3?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. I didn't look it up because I thought it was 0.
Well, his parents and that fish
Oh yeah,
that was on a
yeah.
stick.
There you
That
go.
was on screen, so yeah. Okay, but yeah, I don't think there was anything else in there.
No,
I'm sure he shot some stuff before the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Okay, so and then before we get to the irons pumped, how about we get our asses to Mars and play a little Total Recall?
What do you want, Mr. Quaid?
The same as you, to remember.
Open your mind. Open your mind.
For anyone listening who doesn't know, all it is 5 random trivia questions from the movie we just watched, and the first one to get 3 correct wins. Mm-hmm. So, quick rule thing, Chris reads the questions. Whoever knows the answer buzzes in using their name as the buzzer. Keep in mind, the second someone buzzes in, they'll stop reading the question, so just gotta, Anyway.
Yeah.
Chris, go right ahead.
You got it.
Also, Joe always wins, which is kind of annoying, but, I get it.
Yeah. Okay, we got 5 questions here, and, that's all I could squeeze out of this movie. How long has it been since Blake's parents died?
Joe.
2
years.
Nope.
Aaron
with the chance to steal?
I mean, I know it's not right, but 2 weeks is my only... I know that's how long he was, like, I would say 3 months besides that, but I know that's how long
2 weeks
he was,
is how long it took for his uncle to reach him.
Yeah.
Because he was
I know,
off on
that's all I
camping
had.
trip or whatever. No, it's 5 months.
Okay.
Huh.
Number 2,
right.
What is Newton going to do with his bonus money?
Aaron? I don't... I have no idea.
All right.
No.
Does Joe have a guess?
He is going to go to a different gym.
I remember him mentioning the bonus money, but I don't remember what he says after that.
He's going to start a chicken farm, and then, I think he said he just goes off in this weird rant where I think he says he's going to create a competing chicken restaurant, to compete with KFC.
Yeah. Well, he also asked the question, what is Newton's plan? It's like, ooh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I should have said he's going to start a fig farm.
There you go. That would have been a better answer. What are the 3 sports that Joe Santo participates in besides bodybuilding?
Oh,
Joe. Curling, rowing, javelin.
No. You got curling.
okay,
I guess I should have told you that. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I knew curling. The only other, water skiing?
Nope.
Okay. What are the...
It's a water sport, but it's... When Robert Englund is talking him up, he says he bowls a 200.
Oh, that's right.
He's damn near an Olympic swimmer, and he's a curling champion.
Okay. Joe can have that one we're not
fair.
tied, I don't think.
No,
Partial
that's
credit.
that's the first even answer that anybody's had. So Joe can have that one. What did Mary Tate think the stolen painting was before she saw it up close?
She says it before he goes in the building?
No, but she says it after. He brings it out, and then she's like, "Oh, I thought it was."
I mean, I know what it is after.
Well, sure.
Joe. Boats.
No.
I have no answer.
It's
what
a
did she
lion.
think?
She thought it was a lion when she saw it in the window.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
And last question.
This is what happens when you watch it 3 times. Because
Yes, I agree.
I watched it twice. And
This is also what happens when I can't I just picked random shit. The hot tub is always kept precisely at what temperature? Joe.
110.
There you go. 110. Okay. Joe's got it.
Damn it! I wrote down one thing, and it was it was a number too. It was what was it? How many kids or something like that? Or
How many cousins he has?
Yeah, how many cousins?
Yeah.
137.
That probably would have been an all right one. See, but then you both would have known that.
I wrote it
And
down.
my aim is for this game to be terrible.
Well, mission accomplished. Okay.
All right.
When the big man was killed, you must have wanted it. Its blood was on the leaves.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
All right, so now we're going to get into rating this movie. We're going to rate it on a scale from 1 to 5 for Irons Pumped. Please remember this is a scale of just Arnold movies only, because if it included all movies, it'd all be 5s. So, Chris, why don't you go ahead and tell us your...
Sure. This movie is not an Arnold movie in the least. Like, as we define it, it's just not. He's barely in it, really. Like, he's in... I don't know. He's got maybe 20 minutes of screen time
enough
altogether.
to win an award?
Yeah, it's fine. And like, he's doing a fine acting job. Like, clearly he has not fully honed his acting skills yet, but this movie is actually asking a little more of him than some of his earlier films did. So he's doing a fine job, but he doesn't get to do any of the fun Arnold-y shit that we made this podcast for. So like, trying to brush aside my even trying to brush aside my personal feelings about whether I like this movie or not. It's just not a good Arnold movie. I'm going to go with a 1.0.
Okay. 1 point what?
Just 1.0.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 1.4. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I'm
Mixing
getting real
it up a
specific
little
with
bit.
it.
Well, whoever came up with the scale is an idiot, because like, why don't we just do it on 10? Because we're out here giving me 0.5s and shit. Yeah. That guy's a fucking moron. Speaking of morons, I will go next.
Oh, God. Should have introduced me? That would have been good.
Would have been funny.
No, it was me who came with the scale. Okay, this movie, I think I kind of let my feelings out, I guess, a little bit earlier. I think so back in the day, I used to just go to like Goodwill and just find a book for $1 and then just read through it. And a lot of them sucked. A lot of them I didn't even get through. And a lot of them were just like, good. They were enjoyable. Like, you got into the characters. Like, the plot didn't really matter, but it kind of like kept you going with like the characters. Like, you were kind of put in this world. I feel like that's probably what this book was. And maybe like when this movie came out, like they try to give you the feeling of that. Like, my biggest problem with Stephen King, like, adaptations is like they never get the feel of the characters, just because the plot can definitely be secondary to like the world and the characters that are there in his books. But everybody's like, oh, it's fucking scary clown, like clown scary, whatever.
Clowns are scary.
Yeah. Well, you feel that because of him. But that's kind of what I feel like with, like, I imagine that's what the book was like, because like there's not a lot of fucking plot in this, you know, like, but I imagine the book was like you're feeling these characters in these like situations, and the plot was kind of secondary. And maybe when this movie came out, it kind of was like the same way, you know, like you probably didn't watch a lot of fucking movies in 1976 because you didn't watch them at home, you know, like unless there was a TV movie, like you went to the theaters or whatever, and maybe you got like kind of engrossed in it. You and your boys talked about it. Maybe you saw it twice. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely a movie for a different time. That said, I don't think it's a particularly great movie. Like, it definitely didn't age well. I do think Arnold was actually pretty fucking fantastic in this, and in a very not Arnold-y way. Like, he was kind of subdued and played his part right, and that speaks a lot to what he's become and not what he immediately became. So I am going to give it a 1.5.
I thought it was going to go higher with your
No, I don't want to watch it again. It's not very Arnold-y. I'm just trying to get a retrospective on it. You know, like Like, Aaron, you and I talked, like, I showed Laura Dumb and Dumber, and she did not like it. And then you told me, like, if you're ever considering a divorce, show her Ace Ventura. Like, I just, like,
I say that?
yes, you did. And I still laugh at that.
Erica fucking hates that movie too.
Yeah. I think there's just like
Jim Carrey. There's something about Jim Carrey. Like, the older I get, the more I'm like, eh. But I can still watch them. It's just,
Yeah, but like when that came out, that was amazing. And like comedy, like comedy doesn't age well, I guess you can say. And I think certain,
Did
like,
you show Ace Ventura?
no, because I don't ever. The only way we're breaking up is one of us dies, or she divorces me. But
And then one of us dies.
but no, like that was like our fucking shit back in the day, and now like if you released fucking Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber in theaters, people are like, even the fucking kids that are our age would be like, what the fuck? Like, this sucks. It's like time and taste and how you feel about art and shit changes. Yeah. And, I feel like that way with movies.
Did she not like Dumb and Dumber?
No.
I can't remember if
she did,
I think Erica's okay with it.
She did like Bad Santa, which I was surprised at.
That's way different, though.
That's different.
Dumb and Dumber's like, I think it's just Jim Carrey. He's to where you're like, this guy's a fucking idiot.
Well, no.
No, I mean, the Farrelly Brothers movies, for the most part, have not aged that well.
Yeah, but
like, in general.
But like, if you get like, Ace Ventura is way worse than Dumb and Dumber as far as like, this fucking guy, like, or this movie. Just
it's
like
Jim Carrey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought she would hate Bad Santa because everyone's just a fucking asshole, and most of the comedy is just everybody being a piece of shit, and like
it's written very like well. They was like,
yeah.
Okay,
surprisingly like that. So,
hey, Erica, you like Dumb and Dumber? Yeah, okay, it's all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Divorce her.
Jesus.
I was trying to think of Tommy Boy. She's seen Tommy Boy, right?
Having show, and she's probably like, it's fine.
Okay. She likes Tommy Boy, but that's just Chris Farley's just very
I mean, the Tommy Boy's I think Tommy Boy ages better because it's
because Chris Farley's dead and you're like, fuck this guy. He likes he's dead.
No,
Sorry.
I was like sick last weekend and we watched like a lot of like
90s shit.
No, like Vines I can't stop thinking about, like YouTube compilations. Like anytime somebody falls down, I'm laughing my ass off. I'm like, and then I had to make sure I was like aware of how dumb I am. I'm like, guy fall down, funny. And like look over at her and be like, yeah, I realize I'm stupid for like laughing when people fall down, but I'm smart enough to know that I'm stupid.
That's when you were like, we should watch Dumb and Dumber.
No, then
Barney's film has heart, but football in the groin has a football in the groin.
That's what I cannot stop thinking about. And the older I get, I'm like, I don't know, football in the groin. Like that's
he's got a football in the groin.
Man, the $10,000.
It's got a point. Like if I saw somebody take a football in the groin right now at 41 years old, I'd probably laugh my ass off.
My groin.
Who was it?
George C. Scott.
Yeah, George C. Scott. But yeah, no. After that, I was like, let's watch Memento. Let's be all smart or whatever.
That's your go-to.
Now
that's your smart guy movie too.
You should go with Inception. It's a little more confusing.
Now we watched Memento last night. I've seen Inception too many times. I know what's going on. Watched Memento last night. Memento. I have a lot of feelings about that movie. I watched it back like in like 2000, 2001. Right now, it is a very smart and well done movie. Its entertainment value, I think it's like 20 minutes too long. Maybe just because I know what happens. What's
going to happen?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like the rewatchability is just kind of like.
You got to wait a long time because I watched it probably a couple of years ago and I was like, this movie's fucking good. And even though I knew it was going to happen, but if you like, I'm trying to think of something else that I waited and then I was like, I think Gladiator tour, which is completely different, but it was like, God, this movie's, I was telling Rick, I'm like, this movie's fucking good.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen it since I was like 20 maybe. And I was like, fuck, man.
Well, that's the thing about like, mystery stuff like books or movies or shows. Like,
that's why with the game too. Like,
you can go back and watch it again and be like, wow, like all the signs are there. Like, this is amazing. Like the game, or like Memento, we're just like, let's fucking get to the point. Let's speed it up. Like, you watch it the first time, you're like, this is amazing.
Just show me the good parts.
But like Inception kind of does that too. But Inception is actually like entertaining to watch because there's like the dream and the fucking like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's fighting that guy in the hallway and shit. You know, you're just like, wow, this is like good. But like Memento is just like,
what's
like
going on?
I get it. There's no like action scene or anything, you know. Like once you kind of know what's going on, then it takes the
it's
the
nice to watch
excitement
the
out of
second
it.
time just to like so you can follow it. But yeah. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna go with.
Sorry, real quick. What they need to make is Memento porn, where you see the cum shot, and you're like, "Whoa, what happened?" And then it goes back to the scene before, and you realize, like,
I can't imagine how we got here.
Like, dick goes in the mouth, like, whoa, how did that happen? And it just goes back to them, like, meeting at a grocery store, you know. He's like, oh, you like oranges? I like oranges too, you know. And then
the reveal is that she was hungry and ordered a pizza.
Extra sausage.
The weirdest porn. All of a sudden, like the porn starts and it's like right in her face. And it's like, what the fuck's going on? But
that would be.
You're like, wait, what?
I'm sorry. I feel like we have to do that now. Just a shot where somebody gets blasted in the face and hits the wall, just like Joey Pants, and just sits there dead.
No.
And it slowly rewinds, like at the beginning of Memento, it's where it goes all the way back to it coming out of his dick.
Yeah.
Oh, like the opening scene.
Yeah,
but instead of shaking the picture, he's shaking his dick. Like,
God damn it.
Just Memento. No. Memento.
You gotta make it sound. No, you gotta make it sound smart. It's gotta be called refractory.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Refactor P, and then anyway. Okay. So
I'm sorry, I cut you off, but that just came into my brain. I needed to get that out.
Okay, so yeah, again, my opinion's been known. I don't have to say anything about this. The movie's what it is. I don't think I have to say much because you guys know how I feel.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to decide whether to give it a 1 or I'm going 1.
Okay, that is going to leave Stay Hungry at a 1.16667. That's going to put it in last place. So Batman and Robin is 1.666. Maggie, Sabotage, and the Villain are 1.5. Aftermath is a 1.3. And that's going to put
Red Heat was so bad that it got
that the score doesn't work.
Yeah.
It can't be calculated.
Sign.
How terrible that is.
Warning. Sorry.
And that will put Stay Hungry at the bottom with a 1.16. You know what's actually weird is I think it is a better movie than Sabotage. And it's definitely a better movie than Batman and Robin. It is. And Hercules in New York. It is not more entertaining.
Yes, but I'd rather watch 2 of those.
Yeah.
Probably not Sabotage. I'd probably rather watch.
No, not Sabotage.
Yeah. I'd rather watch Batman and Robin.
Yeah. It's a better movie, but not necessarily more entertaining. Yeah. But it's not a better Arnold movie. And that's what the scale is for.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that is going to do it for our coverage of Stay Hungry. I just want to say to all you out there, stay hungry or don't. I don't know. If it's literal, don't. Like, you know, make sure to eat. Food banks are a great place for that. But most importantly, like, if you're listening to this, like, honestly, thank you. Like, if you're our friends, thank you for supporting us. If you're not, also fucking thank you for just randomly listening to this. And especially, like listening to this episode on this fucking movie. Like, no one, like, we didn't even hear about this movie before. Weirdly, I was talking to a guy tonight. I was like, oh, I gotta record the podcast. And he was trying to guess all these movies. I'm like, dude, you're never gonna guess it. I was like, Stay Hungry. He's like, oh, Stay Hungry. I know that. It's filmed in Birmingham. Like, I'm from there. I should have guessed that. I was like, what the fuck? Like, you know about this movie?
The parents, it's a big thing. And like, I read an article, I think it came out like 5 years ago or so. And it was like, oh yeah, it's one of the things that Birmingham is known for. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
But honestly, if you're listening this far into this fucking episode and you're not the 3 of us, even if you're my mom, hi mom. Seriously, thank you. Like, we really appreciate it. We put in a lot of work. and money in this, and we're not like Raffleson, you know. Maybe we're like Raffleson. We just do it for the fucking
We're not.
But our next movie is going to be the very extremely underrated, frankly, 90s, way ahead of its time masterpiece, Last Action Hero. So please stay tuned. If you're listening to this, you're definitely going to listen to that. But that one's going to be fucking straight fire. So for me, Joe, for Chris Chapman and Aaron Frescus, thank you so much for listening. And I guess there's only like one thing left to say.
See you at the party, Richter!
If you enjoy our show, please consider giving us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast app of choice. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Potty Richter to make sure you never miss an episode. See You at the Potty Richter is a production of Tape Deck Media. Follow Tape Deck on Instagram at tapedeck_media or look us up on Facebook for more hilarious podcasts.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.